Namaste to all of you. Nice to see so many enthusiasts for some understanding to happen. These are terms which are very commonly used, but once we try to delve deeper into their meaning and understanding, the entire significance comes out. Before I start the talk, thanks to Helama Yoga for their constant, incessant endeavor to spread knowledge and understanding. Yeah. Particularly Shivani, whom I know personally for the last so many years, individually so much interested in going deeper into these concepts. Coming to today's topic, two concepts to be understood and then implemented in day-to-day life. The second part is more important because understanding fine, it happens. But how do we implement in day-to-day life? That is the big question mark. So I will first take up the topic of Viveka, then come to Vairagya. Both the topics are interrelated in the sense Viveka leads to Vairagya, and Vairagya practice establishes and makes you go deeper and deeper into the concept of Viveka. So both are interrelated, each one necessary for the other. If we start with the term Viveka, the first idea that comes to my mind, for a long time it was dormant, but when I thought of talking on Viveka, the first idea that comes to my mind is of a mythical bird called Paramahamsa. Some of you may be familiar with this term Paramahamsa, the supreme swan. This is the Vahana or the vehicle of Lord Brahma. But this supreme swan is attributed with a quality and capacity, and that is, if there is a solution of water and milk, then this swan, Paramahamsa, is able to just extract the milk and drink it. The water will remain behind. This is supposed to be a mythical bird, Paramahamsa. And this extraction of milk from water is symbolic of the highest spiritual discrimination. Viveka is a common noun, and if you look at the dictionary, you will understand Viveka as a discrimination. And when we understand the word discrimination, discrimination between right and wrong, good and bad, black and white, now and then, that is a general meaning. But in Indian philosophy, Viveka is a jargon word which stands for enlightened discrimination. And when I say enlightened discrimination, intuitive discrimination, it is the ultimate wisdom, Nitya Anitya Viveka Vichara. It is the discrimination between Nitya and Anitya, that which is eternal and that which is transient, Sar and Asara, that which is of essence and that which is not of essence. It is the distinction between the self and the not self. This is the discrimination which is the final or ultimate antidote to the concept of avidya in Indian philosophy. That avidya which is the cause of dukkha or sufferings in life. So Viveka is the attainment And when you attain that, avidya goes away, ignorance of the essence. I'm not talking about ignorance of chemistry or mathematics or management or finance. We are talking about ignorance pertaining to the essence, my real self. When Viveka happens, avidya goes. And if avidya goes, dukkha, which is the consequence of avidya, also goes away. So all Indian philosophies, with the exception of Charvakas, Astika and Nastika both, all of them at the end of the day are paths or media for attainment of Viveka, because the goal of all Indian philosophy is the elimination of dukkha in life, sufferings and miseries in life. So the point to remember here is Viveka is a jargon word in Indian philosophy, which stands for the description between the real and the unreal, the permanent and the temporary, the eternal and the transient, the essential and the non-essential. Accordingly, if you look at Sankhya and Yoga, most of us are yoga students here, Viveka refers to the ultimate discrimination between Purusha and Prakriti. When I realize I am Purusha or the pure consciousness and not Prakriti, which is the body, mind, and ego complex in me, when that discrimination happens, it is Viveka. If you take Advaita Vedanta, Viveka refers to the discrimination between Brahman and Maya. Maya, or the illusionary power of Brahman, because of which the world appears as if the world is real. Viveka is the discrimination in Vedanta between the Atman in me, the soul, the spirit, or the consciousness in me, as distinguished from the body and the mind. If you take Buddhism, Viveka is the discriminatory enlightenment where we realize that everything is anitya, everything is impermanent. Life is a flow. So when we attain to the enlightenment of reality per se, we attain to Viveka. An associated word with Viveka is Khyati, Vivekakhyati. Khyati means knowledge. We have to make a distinction here. When we say Vivekakhyati, it is not knowledge of discrimination, it is realization of discrimination. This concept has to be understood very clearly for all students here of philosophy. Knowledge or jnana, J-N-A-N-A, jnana, happens through sense organs and the mind. Okay. Whereas realization is supersensory. Realization happens through intuition. Realization is not a product of intellectual knowledge. That is why we never talk about self-knowledge. We talk about self-realization. Because you cannot know your real self. You have to be your real self. There is a distinction between knowing and being. Yourself has to be realized. So when we use the word Vivekakhyati, we must understand that small difference. Vivekakhyati is enlightened realization of the discrimination between the real and the unreal. Having said this, if you come to the significance of Viveka in Yoga Darshana, our field, Patanjali's Yoga Sutras form the basic text of Yoga Darshana or Yoga philosophy. Before I proceed ahead, I want to inform all of you that the topic is too vast and voluminous, which you will know when I am taking it up. And we have allocated 1 hour for it. So I am trying to cut short wherever it is possible for me and at least try to make a complete whole of the presentation. Yeah, maybe 5-10 minutes I can exceed the timing if necessary with your permission, but not more than that. Yeah, otherwise it can go for 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours. Yeah, because the topic is very interesting. If we take Patanjali's Yoga Sutras and I come to the focus on Viveka, then I may start at what is called as Chaturvyuha, fourfold arrangement in Patanjali's Yoga Sutras. The fourfold arrangement is the concepts of Heya, Heya Hetu, Hana, and Hana Upaya. Heya refers to the sufferings in human life. And in the context of yoga, particularly Patanjali Yoga Sutras, sufferings which have not yet come to me. Sufferings which I have already suffered, I can't do anything about it. Sufferings which I am now going through, I can't do anything about it. But I can at least be open to the possibility of eliminating what suffering is in store for me in the future. That suffering which is yet to come is called Heya. Heya Hetu is, Hetu means cause. What is the cause of this suffering? Patanjali gives 2 sutras there. I'm not going totally into sutras, but just to, bring Patanjali sutras there. Drashtu Drushyo Sanyogaya Heya Hetu. The identification, false identification between my real self and my false self. My real self is the consciousness in me. The false self is the body and the mind. When I identify myself with the body and the mind, my suffering starts. So instead of realizing that I am the consciousness in me, if I take for granted that I am the body, identification of the body, when the body grows old, I very conveniently say, I am growing old. And now the problem starts happening. I am falling sick. I am not okay. When the mind is unhappy, I say, I am unhappy. I am sad. I am depressed. No, you are not your body. You are not your mind. You are the consciousness in you. Only when you identify that samyoga, when that samyoga happens, it's a false conjunction. When you identify with the body and the mind, the dukkha starts happening. Now, this Heya Hetu is the samyoga. Why is this identification happening? Identification happening because of avidya. Tasya Hetu avidya. Because of not realizing that I am consciousness, in the ignorance of that realization, I identify. So the samyoga or identification happens because of avidya. So Heya is the sufferings. Heya Hetu is the false identification arising from avidya. Hana. Hana is elimination of suffering. Obviously, if the suffering is caused by false identification due to avidya, then that sufferings will go only when avidya goes and the identification goes. That is the Hana. And now we are coming to the most important point, Hana Upaya. How do I bring about that? And here is the sutra which Patanjali says, Vivekakhyati aviplava Hana Upaya. Hana Upaya means the means, the method of bringing about that elimination of samyoga and avidya. How to get rid of avidya? Patanjali says, Vivekakhyati aviplava. Vivekakhyati is enlightened discrimination that I am the Purusha, the consciousness, I am not the body and the mind. When that enlightened discrimination happens, my samyoga or avidya goes away, my sufferings go away. But that adjective to the Vivekakhyati, aviplava. Aviplava means unbroken state of discrimination. All of us, sometime or the other, in elevated states of mind, realize I'm not this body. I'm not this mind. We are able to see that. It's a glimpse that we get that this mind is not me, this body is not me. But unfortunately, that glimpse that we get, we are not able to remain established in that. So again, I fall back. It is like a lecturer like me who gives nice lecture on Vivekakhyati, that this is Viveka, and when this happens, you attain to Kaivalya, all sufferings are over. So I know everything about Vivekakhyati. But once the lecture is over, I go back and say, look, I'm feeling very hungry. Now the hunger of the food becomes my hunger. I start identifying. The question is, can you remain in that enlightened discrimination that I am not the conscious, I'm not the body and the mind, I am the consciousness. Glimpse of reality, all of us get sometime or the other. All of us get it. The problem is we are not able to maintain it. So Vivekakhyati aviplava hanopayaha. I have to remain in that state of Vivekakhyati, which is not easy. Having said that, now Patanjali says, how do I bring about this Vivekakhyati? Patanjali says, Yoga Anga Anushtanat Ashuddhi Kshe Jnana Deepti A Vivekakhyate. This one sutra gives the whole purpose of practicing yoga. Yoga Anga Anushtanat. When you practice the yoga angas, which is in Patanjali Yoga Sutras, Yama, Niyama, Asana, Pranayama, Pratyahara, Dharana, Dhyana, Samadhi. When you practice this yoga angas in the manner of Anushtan, you must pay attention to this word Anushtan. I'm sure there are lots of yoga enthusiasts here. Patanjali uses the word in one place, Anushasan, Atha Yoga Anushasanam, now the discipline of yoga. Other place he uses the word Abhyasa, similar word. And now he's using the word Anushtan. All three are very similar. Anushasan, Abhyasa, Anushtan. Anushtan means practice with fervor. That religious fervor that you take up with yourself, that if I don't do this practice, nothing happens in my day. I have to do it. So when you practice yoga angas in the manner of Anushtan, yoga anga Anushtana, what happens? Yoga anga Anushtana, Ashuddhi Kshaya. The impurities in you, Kshaya is a beautiful word. Kshaya, Abhava, similar words Patanjali uses. Kshaya means becoming less to the point of disappearance. So when I practice yoga angas, the impurities in me become less to the point of disappearance. What are these impurities? Very clear. These impurities refer to the tamas and the rajas guna in me. When the rajas and the tamas becomes less in me, sattva guna starts becoming more. All knowledge happens in sattva guna. So when the impurities of rajas and tamas become less in me and sattva guna starts happening more, what happens? Yoga anganushthanat ashuddhi kshe jnana deeptihi. Now the light of knowledge is lit. That light of knowledge which is lit, Vivekakhyate. Means development. That light of knowledge which has now risen in me slowly starts developing and reaches the state of Vivekakhyati. It's a beautiful sutra which Patanjali says. At the end of the day, all practices of yoga have one ultimate goal, and that goal is Vivekakhyati. Can I attain to the realization that I am Purusha, I am not Prakriti? Can I attain to that discrimination, very clear discrimination? Again, if you look at one of the sutras in the Vibhuti Pada, a sutra which is very, very beautiful, philosophically very relevant, but I'm not going into the philosophy. Just to name that sutra to you, you can marvel at the sutra and go on spending days and days out of it. Mathematicians and logicians have not solved the problem yet of this sutra. And the sutra is in the Vibhuti Pada, maybe the last third or fourth sutra. It says, Shanatat Kramayoho Sanyamat Vivekajam Jnanam. Shana tat kramayoho sanyamat vivekajam jnanam. Jam means born. The knowledge of Viveka, the discriminative power, is born in you, or you attain to that discrimination when you do samyama. Samyama means dharana, dhyana, samadhi. When you meditate on, what do you meditate on? You meditate on shana tat kramayoho. Shana means instant, and krama means sequence. Sequence of instants is called time. You will realize that we take for granted time as a continuous flow, unbroken flow. But actually speaking, that time is made up of discrete moments, kshana. Each kshana is discrete. Time per se is an illusion which the human mind imposes on these discrete moments, and we don't see each moment, we see as if the time is flowing. When you start doing meditation on kshana, on the moment, and its sequence, that is time, and your meditation starts with dharana, it reaches the state of samadhi, sabija samadhi, you realize that, look, there is nothing called time. Time is an illusion. Time is an imposition on discrete moments which are happening. And Patanjali says very clearly in the philosophy of Sankhya and Yoga, what are these discrete moments? These discrete moments are the states of Prakriti every moment. If you take an element, if you take the physical body, which is made up of 5 elements, Akasha, Vayu, Agni, Apa, Prithvi, 5 elements, and every moment, if you take Prithvi element, there is denudation, there is erosion. If you take water, it is moving. So every element, there is a change. So every element at one point of time has a present state. When you look at the next state, how do you know it is the next state? You will know only when you look at the difference between the present state and the next state. What is the difference? The difference is the state of existence of those 2 elements there. There is nothing time in between. This is the ultimate discrimination. This is an example for students of yoga here. This is an example of vibhuti as distinguished from siddhi. Siddhi is an accomplishment which is very good for the external world. People can pat you on the back because I've got lots of siddhis. But vibhuti is something which is siddhi, which takes you towards kaivalya. So when you attain to the discrimination between time and the moments which make up the time, you are now ripe to see the distinction between Purusha and Prakriti in you. Because the ultimate difference is that time, that moment and time. How do I make the difference there? The last sutra here, last point in Patanjali, then I will go ahead. Even in the definition of Kaivalya or Dharma Mega Samadhi, the ultimate state of yoga practice. Yoga practice start with Bahiranga Yoga, Yama, Niyama, Asana, Pranayama, Pratyahar. That Bahiranga takes you towards Antaranga Yoga, Dharana, Dhyana, Samadhi. That Samadhi culminates in the first state of Samadhi called Sabija Samadhi. That Sabija Samadhi takes you to Nirbija Samadhi. That Nirvija Samadhi takes you towards Dharma Mega Samadhi. Dharma Mega Samadhi is the goal of all yoga practices. Now, if you look at this definition of Dharma Mega Samadhi, beautiful, relevant to what our topic at hand, it says, Prasankhane api akusidasya sarvatha vivekakhyate dharma megha samadhi. Sarvatha vivekakhyate. Now you have reached a state that whether it is morning, afternoon, evening, whether you're eating food, talking to some person, whatever, you're all the time established in Vivekakhyati. Now there is no way you can go back. You're totally established. That state is called Dharma Mega Samadhi. So Viveka and Vivekakhyati are the goals of all yoga practices. If I come to Advaita Vedanta or Vedanta per se, Vedanta per se is the Jnana Yoga, Jnana Marga, marg of knowledge. Yeah. Upanishads are the first time the emphasis in the Vedas comes towards knowledge, because when you come to Mimamsa, or if I take Samhita, Brahmana, Aranyaka, Upanishad, till the time the Samhita and the Brahmana was there, emphasis in Upanishads, the Vedas was on the karmas, the homa that you do, the rites that you do, the rituals that you do, emphasis was there. When Vedas developed towards Upanishads, in the Upanishads, emphasis is on knowledge. So Upanishads is the Jnana Marga, the marg of knowledge there. In Vedanta, Advaita Vedanta, we talk about, instead of Kaivalya of yoga, we talk about moksha. In order to attain to moksha, Vedanta talks about sadhana chatustaya. Sadhana chatustaya means 4 pillars of your practice. In these 4 pillars, the first pillar is Viveka. Viveka, Vairagya, Shadasampata, and Mokshitva. These are the 4 pillars. Viveka, the discrimination between Brahman and Maya. Once I start slowly getting a glimpse of it, Vairagya starts happening automatically, because I no longer start getting attached to the worldly things, because I know the worldly things are belonging to Maya, whereas the reality in me is the Atman or the soul or the consciousness. I start slowly disassociating, detaching from there. Gradually, I start developing qualities in me. Vedanta talks about 6 qualities. I'm not going deeper into it. I'm just touching. If some of you are interested, you can go to, this is a very popular concept called sadhana chatustaya. The Shadasampata is Sama, Dama, Uparati, Titiksha, Shraddha, and Samadhan. Sama means control of mind, Mano Nigraha. Dama means control of sense organs, Indriya Nigraha. Uparati means you're now withdrawing. You're doing only the actions which are necessary based upon the dharma that you're following. All other actions, you are slowly withdrawing yourself. Only the actions which take you on the path, you're taking that. Titiksha means forbearance. Forbearance of small nuisances, cold and heat, pleasure and pain. Now you're slowly just not paying attention to them. Shraddha is faith. Faith on the Guru, on the scriptures. And lastly, Samadhan. Samadhan is one-pointed focus on your goal in life. So this is Shadasampata. So the Sadhana Chatustaya starts with Viveka, takes you to Vairagya, develops the 6 qualities, Shadasampata, makes you now fit as a Mumukshutva. Mumukshutva is burning desire for moksha. Underline the word burning desire, because normal desire all of us have. But this desire When some other desire comes, this desire goes into the background and the other desire becomes more important. Burning desire for moksha means I cannot live till the time I attain to moksha. Everything else goes into insignificance. So, Viveka, Vairagya, Shadasampata, and Mumukshutva. Mumukshu is one who has got Mumukshutva. Mumukshu is the person or the monk or an individual who has that burning desire for moksha. These four qualities necessary for attaining to moksha. Now, the important point is from the practice point of view, how do I develop this Viveka, this Vairagya, this Shadasampata, this Mumukshu? How do I develop it? A simple way is the three-pronged practice of Vedanta. It is three-pronged and three are necessary. All three are important. The first is called Shravana. Shravana means absorption. You are learning scriptures, you are being with wise people, you are learning under a guru, you are absorbing more and more, more and more. Just the absorption is not going to help, because this absorption is going to make, at the end of the day, yourself as a very informative person. So the next step after Shravana is Manana. Manana means contemplation or reflection on what you have attained. The moment you start reflecting, contemplating, the consequence is the coming to certain convictions. You have absorbed lots of things, but when you start contemplating upon it, you will come to conclusion, I like this, I don't like this. This is suitable for me, this is not suitable for me. This is practical, this is not practical. When these things happen, at the end of the day, you will come at least to few grains of truth, where you say, this is 100% correct, this is suitable for me, I can do this. Manana leads to convictions, where after Shravana, you'll have to quote books and say, this book says that book says that. After Manana, you're authorized to say, I say so. Because you have done sufficient homework mentally, intellectually, contemplated and come to conclusion. But this also is only intellectual knowledge. And remember my favorite phrase, degree holding donkey. Lots of degrees are there. At the end of the day, you're only a donkey. Yeah. These convictions have to be translated into day-to-day life. That is the last step called Nididhyasana. Nididhyasana literally means meditation. There is a difference between contemplation and meditation. When your meditation becomes successful, you become one with the object on which you are meditating. In empirical world, Nididhyasana is implementing the convictions that you have arrived at, you are putting now in day-to-day life. These are the three steps for finally attaining to the state of Viveka. I will stop here because the next topic is larger than this. I am coming to the second topic called Vairagya. Vairagya is coming from the word Viraga. Viraga. Raga means interest or attachment. V means without raga. Raga is interest, passion, emotion, attachment. So automatically Viraga or Vairagya means detachment, dispassion. And in the Indian context, we always associate Vairagya with a person who has given up everything in life. Vairagi hai wo. That means he has now given up everything in the life. He is a monk. Sannyas liya hua hai. And this is the reason why the moment this concept is spoken about, so-called successful people in the world, by success I mean people who have made lots of money, have 3-4 cars, big houses, good relationships, good contacts. The moment educated people, highly educated people, the moment they hear the word Vairagya, they will say, nee, we don't want anything to do with this. Let me go away. This is not my path. My talk on Vairagya today is specifically to remove this misunderstanding. Because Vairagya does not mean what we normally understand, and normal understanding, I have just told you what it is. Yes, Vairagya is detachment. But what is this detachment we are talking about? If you take Patanjali's Yoga Sutras, the definition of yoga is yoga chitta vritti nirodha. Yoga is the nirodha or the stopping of all chitta vrittis. Vritti means modification, chitta means mind. I'm being very simplified, in a very simplified manner I'm talking. So chitta vritti means modifications of the mind. And for a lay person as well as for a yoga enthusiast, the mind modification happens only when you have an experience. Every time you have an experience, your mind modifies. This vritti is coming from the epistemology of Sankhya, that only when my chitta modifies itself into the shape of the object of my experience, I have an experience. You don't have to go so much deeper. By vritti, understand it as experience. So definition of yoga is yoga chitta vritti nirodha. Yoga is the stopping of mental modifications, which is the same as stopping of all your experiences. Now, the moment I tell this, you will start blinking, frowning. Can I live my life without having experience? What is he talking about? And not only that, Patanjali gives 5 possible experiences that you can have. Pramana, Viparya, Vikalpa, Nidra, Smriti. It covers all the experience that you can have. We are not going into that. But then, is it possible for me to live life without having an experience? No, it is not possible. Then how is he saying this? Yes, on rethinking, he revises. And in the 5th sutra, he says, Vrittayaha panchatayaha klishta aklishta. Vrittis or experience are of 5 types. And the second part is very important. They are either klishta, accompanied by kleshas, or aklishta, unaccompanied by kleshas. We know the word klesha is a common noun as well as a proper noun in yoga philosophy. Klesha means corruption. Klesha means pain. Klesha means, poison. So, klishta vritti, an experience which is accompanied by klesha, means it is a painful experience. Aklishta means not accompanied by kleshas, not painful. Very clearly, in the commentaries on Patanjali's Yoga Sutras, experiences which are accompanied by kleshas, will come to what are kleshas. Accompanied by kleshas take you downstream to samsara, birth, death, rebirth cycle. And experiences which do not have kleshas take you upstream towards kaivalya. So the question is, I can have experience, but if I am yogic and if I want to spiritually evolve, I should ensure that my experiences are not accompanied by kleshas. At least this is something workable, possible. Is your screen frozen? Are you able to hear me, all of you? Yeah? Okay. Okay. Because sometimes I find the screen is frozen. Okay. So now at least you can heave a sigh of relief that he's talking common sense, that okay, in yoga, it's not necessary that you should stop all your experiences, but you must ensure that your experiences are not accompanied by kleshas. What are these kleshas? In Patanjali Yoga Sutras, Patanjali names 5 kleshas: avidya, asmita, raga, dvesha, abhiniveshaha, kleshaha. 5 kleshas is naming. And he says very clearly, these 5, out of these 5, avidya or ignorance of your reality is the mother. She gives rise to all the other 4 kleshas. You are born because you have got avidya. If you didn't have avidya, you will not be born. If you attend to Vivekakhyati and avidya goes, there is no rebirth for you. You are free now, moksha. So your fact that you are born means you have got avidya. So let's keep avidya aside. What are the other 4 kleshas? Asmita, raga, dvesha, abhinivesha. What I am talking is very, very practical for all of us in life. Very practical. If you take asmita, without going into the sutra, asmita is all the time asserting my I, my ego. I. Asmita is my attachment to my ego. Very clear. Mark the word attachment to ego. Raga. Patanjali defines raga beautifully. Sukha anushi ragaha. Raga is the attachment towards objects which produce pleasure. The moment some object gives me pleasure, I have a tendency to get attached to it. That is raga. So raga is attachment to pleasure-producing objects. The 4th one, abhinivesha. Abhinivesha is clinging to life or fear of death. So abhinivesha is my attachment to my life. In fact, this is the ultimate attachment. Even in the hospital, at the last moment of life, the person still wishes, can I live a little bit more? Can I live a little bit more? Because you don't want to die. So asmita is attachment to your ego. Raga is attachment to pleasure-producing objects. Abhinivesha is attachment to life per se. Now come to dvesha. Dukha anushvi dvesha. Dvesha or dislike or aversion is towards objects which produce pain. Now, bring your psychology into play and you will realize that aversion, dislike, is actually a negative attachment. I remember my enemy more than all my friends. 10 people doing good to me in life, I easily forget. One person having done something wrong to me, I never forget. Aversion or dislike is actually a negative attachment, stronger attachment than raga. Now you will know where I'm taking you. The 4 kleshas that we have spoken about are only different forms of attachment. So what is Patanjali talking about? Patanjali is saying you can have any experience that you want to have, Only ensure it is not accompanied by kleshas, and all four kleshas are only attachment. So what is he saying? He is saying you can have any experience provided you have the capacity of not getting attached. The problem in life is this problem, involuntary problem, unintentional, that the moment I have an experience, the mind has a tendency to get attached. This is the most severe problem of human life. Now, detachment. Detachment does not mean non-enjoyment. This is the problem with all successful people in life, educated people who don't want to enter into spirituality or yoga, because they think, no, if I enter here, I'll have to give up all my enjoyment. No, you don't have to give enjoyment. Detachment is not non-enjoyment. There is a subtle difference. In fact, if you ask me, only a yogi who has got total capacity of detachment can enjoy everything in life. Because he or she is very clear that I can enjoy and not get attached to it at all. In fact, as a working principle, I always say this, that when you are about to eat something or experience something, ask one question to yourself. Is it possible for me to be comfortable without having this? If your answer is yes, go and enjoy it completely. If your answer is no, I won't be able to live life without enjoying this, then go away from it, because it is trapping you. Non-enjoyment does not mean detachment. This is the misunderstanding that we have. Now, if you take this detachment and attachment, if I go slightly psychologically, how is attachment happening in me? Attachment is happening because when I'm enjoying certain thing, my mind is storing the fact that this is very good. This mind which is storing, that storing is what? It is called samskara. Smriti and samskara are the same. What is dormant is samskara, deep impression of a past experience. What is smriti or memory is the past experience becoming live now is smriti. Memory and samskara are, one is dormant, one is active. So, I'm taking you slightly deeper. Is it possible for experiencing something without storing it at the back of the mind? This is the question of J. Krishnamurti throughout his life. Can you experience something without committing to memory? Of course, he was not so very eloquent and elaborate. But this is actually what is the case there. Because the moment you have this tendency of storing it, now the problem starts happening. I've had nice dinner after the lecture, enjoyed the dinner. Next day when I sit for dinner and about to put, I said, yesterday's dinner was better than this. Now the problem has started happening. Because that yesterday's dinner is stored in the mind. If I put in yogic terms, what does it mean? It means, can I come to the present moment totally? Now understand very clearly. Because you're not totally in the present moment, a part of the mind is recording the experience. So you're not totally in the present moment. If you're totally in the present moment, there is no part of the mind which will record. When you're listening to me now and presumably enjoying and understanding it, do not start thinking, how will I remember all this? Because the moment you start thinking, how will I remember, it's a problem. You are got into a trap. If you understand what I am saying completely at this moment, you are freed completely. There is no analysis. Can I come to the present moment totally? The moment you come there, detachment has happened, vairagya has happened. It's nothing else. If suppose I say, look, for so many lifetimes, I have been storing and getting attached. How will I immediately get free? The second way out is, at least you have stored this good experience at the back of the mind. After 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, when you're having similar experience and the mind brings out, oh, that day's lecture, stop. You stop the mind and say, shut up, I'm not going to go on that day. Today is a fresh day. Can you stop what is stored in the mind from influencing your futures? This is the crux of detachment. It is not difficult. It's easy. Unfortunately, what we do is we are habitually remembering. We go to a new place. Before we see the place, the camera comes out and click photos. And you ask, what are you doing? No, I want to remember. Or Baba, this is what Patanjali is saying. This is what J. Krishnamurti is saying. Don't remember. You experience fully. The moment you experience, you don't have to remember. It becomes a part of you. Now, if I go a little bit more into philosophy, remembering is a function of your mind. It belongs to the mind. Understanding is a change in your being. The most beautiful definition of knowledge is knowledge is equal to memory. Try to think about this. Knowledge is equal to memory. All our knowledge is only memory, unfortunately. And that is why what you have learned 2-3 years back when you did your MA course or PhD or your diploma or certificate course, now if somebody asks you, you say, I don't know. I don't know means I don't remember. Because you have emphasized remembering more. If you have understood something, then it is not a part of your mind, it's a part of your being. And when it becomes a part of your being, you don't have to remember. You will explain in different words. So it is all the more advantageous not to commit to memory. So we normally think if I don't remember, then no, you don't have to remember. If you understand it, it's part of your being has already changed. Your words may be different, but you have understood it completely. So Vairagya is trying to eliminate all the kleshas. As simple as that. Because all the kleshas only raga. And Vairagya means getting away with all the kleshas. So now if you look at the definition of yoga, yoga chittavritti nirodha, yoga is the stopping of all mental modifications which are having kleshas, which means stopping of all experiences which tend or make you vulnerable for getting attached. No, get out of this. You may have lots of questions on this. How can I live life without having it in memory? Because I am married to a person. If I get up in the morning and I don't remember he is my husband or my wife, then what will happen to my life? No, it is not that difficult. You know, when you don't have memory, you can still live the same life, but your psychological condition totally vanishes. Practical memory is necessary. Psychological memory is not necessary. Not necessary at all. You have to get rid of that psychological memory there. It was good, it was bad. It was hard, it was easy. It was comfortable, it was uncomfortable. It was happy, unhappy. No, get rid of this psychological bombardment of the mind. Get rid of it. Now, if you look at it, then how is this Vairagya important in Patanjali Yoga Sutras? Patanjali's Yoga Sutras talk about three. Oh, we are only 4 minutes left. I will hurry up now, okay? Maybe 5-10 minutes, I'll take more. Maybe 15 minutes maximum. Patanjali or commentators on Patanjali Yoga Sutras talk about 3 levels of practitioners. Uttama Adhikarin, Madhyama Adhikarin, Adhama Adhikarin. Uttama means high level of practitioners. Individuals who have been in yoga for 20-25 years. I have been practicing yoga for that long. Veterans in yoga. Madhyama means middle level participants. Adhama means almost novices who have just entered into yoga. So Patanjali says, for Uttamadhikarin, if Chitta Vritti Nirodha has to be done, what have they do? He says, Abhyasa Vairagya Abhyam Tan Nirodha. See how clear we are in what he's talking about. He says, for Uttamadhikarin, for highest levels of practitioners, if they have to get rid of their vrittis, they have to practice Abhyasa and Vairagya. Abhyasa Vairagya Abhyam Tan Nirodha. So this is what we have been talking about, that your purpose is only to get rid of Vairagya there. Abhyasa refers to the practice of Bhairanga Yoga, all the practices that you do. And if you go from a philosophical point of view, Abhyasa refers to Tatra Sthito Yatno Abhyasaha. Abhyasa refers to your capacity to remain concentrated. That is Abhyasa. Efforts at remaining concentrated is called Abhyasa. So that Abhyasa for what? For Vairagya. For Uttamadhikarin is Vairagya necessary. For Madhyamadhikarin, middle level practitioners, he talks about Kriya Yoga. Tapaswadya Ishyapadidhanani Kriya Yoga. And Kriya Yoga does what? Samadhi Bhavnartha Klesha Tanu Karnartha. The Kriya Yoga practice of Tapaswadya Ishyapadidhanani does what? It makes your Kleshas Tanu. Kleshas are attachment. Even for middle level practitioners, talking about only attachment, nothing else. For Adhamadhikarin, Ashtanga Yoga, all angas of yoga to be practiced. What happens? The Bahiranga Yoga, Yama, Niyama, Asana, Pranayama, Pratyahar. Pratyahar is the cusp. The Yama, Niyama, Asana, Pranayama takes you to a point where you are able to withdraw your sense organs from the external world. Detachment happens. That detachment enables you to go to the state of meditation, Dharana, Dhyana, Samadhi. So, the point that I'm trying to make is that for all 3 levels of practitioners, the most important point in the practice is development of Vairagya, detachment. How do I develop detachment in life? Detachment towards external objects, detachment to myself, detachment to my thoughts, my ideas. And the moment I say this phrase, you must understand, the moment the word my goes, you are a totally detached person. So, when I am referring to this as my hand, there is attachment. When I refer to this as the hand, see the difference. What difference happens? It's totally different. When you look at your young son and say, my son, now gone, totally attachment. When you look at and say, wow, the young boy, now there is no attachment. Our language, our thought processes for lifetimes together has strengthened, consolidated, established this faculty of getting attached. This is the crux of the problem. Come from here. If you come to Sankhya Darshana, Patanjali gives definition of Vairagya. We'll come to that. Patanjali says, Drishtanushravika Vishya Vrutrishnasya Vaishikara Sangya Vairagya. Vairagya is complete mastery of your mind, control of your mind, where there is no attachment towards objects seen or objects heard. It is not the detachment of a diabetic towards sugar. Because a diabetes person gets detached from sugar because of some consequences. That if I have sugar, this will happen to me, so I better not have sugar. No. In yoga, the detachment is not because of that. Detachment is because of control of mind. Detachment is because of your high level of thinking, which says, look, I have seen everything in the world. It is not fulfilling. Now slowly I'm withdrawing, and now even if some sweet is given to you, say, look, it's okay, I don't have it. There's no, everything is available, but you do not have it. Vashikara Sangya. Vashikara means that detachment is completely under your control. In Sankhya, just to rush. In Sankhya, Raga and Vairagya are two qualities of Buddhi, inherent qualities of Buddhi. When Buddhi is dominated by Sattva Guna, Sankhya says there are four qualities which dominate the Buddhi: Dharma, Jnana, Aishwarya, Vairagya. These are the four qualities when Sattva Guna is there in Buddhi: Dharma, Jnana, Aishwarya, power, and Vairagya. And exactly the opposite dominate the Buddhi when Tamas Guna is there: Ajnana, Adharma, Raga, and Aishwarya. Fine, having said that, what does Vairagya do? In Sankhya Darshana, it says, for you, if you have to develop Vairagya, detachment, it passes through four steps. The first step is Yatmana Sangya Vairagyam, first stage of efforts. You realize that, look, I am attached to so many things, it's making a mess of my life. I want to get detached. So you start putting efforts in slowly getting rid of small attachments which are not consequential to your life. That's the first step. Yatmana Sangya Vairagyam. The second step is called Vyatireka Sangya Vairagyam. It is the stage of comparison. After 6 months, 1 year, I'm making it practical. After 6 months, 1 year, when you look back upon yourself, you say, look, I started with total attachment towards 30 items in life. They may be human, non-human, doesn't matter, but attachment is there. Now, I have put efforts for 6 months, 1 year. Now, out of 30, only 10 are left. 20 have become free. Some people are getting attached to which side of the bed they get up in the morning. Look at the form of attachment. Some people want to have a cup of tea before going to the toilet in the morning. If I don't have a cup of tea, I can't. No. Some people want to have a smoke. Some people want to have a peg of whiskey in the evening. No, that's small peg. It's okay. No. I mean, if you look at the way attachments we have built up, even dresses, even all our cosmetics for this thing, this purpose, this thing, this purpose. I mean, we have totally imprisoned ourselves with the attachments that we have created. And we call ourselves free individuals. No, you're not free. You're apparently free. You're not actually free. Because these are bindings upon you. You know, if in my breakfast, I don't have one egg, then you know my breakfast is not complete. My health will go for a toss. No, who has told you this? You have made yourself a total bundle of these problems in life. After 6 months, 1 year, when you look back, you say 20 attachments have gone, 10 have left. This is what we refer to as paripasubhav. Now and then. Abhi kitna tha, pehle kitna hai. You continue putting efforts. The next step is called ekendriya. Eka indriya, one organ state. Even if you reach this state, is a massive progress. Ekendriya state means I have become free from attachments of all the 5 senses. Only one indriya, one sense is left. What is that sense? That is the mind. So now, For the last 6-7 years, I have not smoked. But when all friends come together and they smoke, my mind still thinks, it was so nice those days when I was smoking. That mind is still entertaining. This is what we refer to in English as nostalgia. Nostalgia for the small attachments. The fourth state in Sankhya is Vashikara Sangya Vairagyam, which is the definition which Patanjali gives. That is the fourth stage, where now I have got complete mastery of my mind. Even if you give me something, no, I don't have it. I have got no attachment at all. Patanjali goes one step further and talks about Paravairagya. Paravairagya is the highest form of Vairagya. He says, Tat Param Purusha Kyatehe Gunavaitrushnyam. When you have Vivekakhyati, you realize you are Purusha, you have total detachment towards the gunas themselves. Gunas are what make up the Prakriti. If I have to make simple understanding for you, it is, I get attached to Barfi. She gets attached to Laddu. She gets attached to Peda. She gets attached to Rasmalai, Gulab Jamun. All these attachments at the end of the day are only attachment towards sweetness or sugar. Now, if I develop detachment towards sugar itself, none of these sweets will ever entice me. So when I develop detachment towards the gunas themselves, no object in the world, because all the objects in the world are made up of gunas. So my detachment is towards the gunas themselves. That will happen only when I have enlightenment that I am Purusha, I am not Prakriti. That is the highest form of Vairagya, Paravairagya. Stop. I'm stopping Patanjali Sutras. Come to Kundalini awakening. Few observations. When the Kundalini awakens, which is the same as prana rising to the Sushumna Nadi, this prana which rises to the Sushumna Nadi confronts three psychic knots called granthis. Granthi. The first granthi is called Brahma Granthi. Second granthi is called Vishnu Granthi. Third granthi is called Rudra Granthi. Brahma Granthi is associated with the first two chakras, Mooladhara Chakra, Swadhisthana Chakra. Vishnu Granthi associated with Anahat Chakra, Manipur Chakra. And Rudra Granthi associated with Vishuddhi and Agnya Chakra. Psychic knots. Just understand that when you are watering the garden with your hose or a pipe, and just think if the pipe is turned, no water will flow because there is a knot. In the Sushumna Nadi, through the spinal cord which goes up, these granthis, these are psychic knots. This prevent, obstruct the flow of prana. So Kundalini cannot awaken till the time the knot is opened out. And you'll be surprised and thrilled to know that all the three knots are only three forms of attachment. Brahma Granthi is the attachment towards material pleasures and sensual enjoyments. Vishnu Granthi is the attachment towards emotions. Rudra Granthi is the attachment towards your eye. Look at the significance of Vairagya we're talking about. That on the path of Kundalini, when it awakens, the blockages, the obstructions, the impediments are only attachments. The moment you become free from that attachment towards material pleasures, physical pleasures, one knot is opened out. Now you have become free. Otherwise, it's not allowing you to progress ahead. This is not theory. This is actually the case. In life, this is what happened. That is why, if you look at the institute in our scriptures, in our culture of sannyasa. What is renunciation? Renunciation is breaking away free from all these knots formally. When a person takes diksha or initiation, formally he says, look, now I'm no longer the brother or sister or mother or father of any person. No, no person can ever get rid of this relationship. But formally, when you say that, one knot is broken. Okay, look, now this is not going to bind me. Because the institute of sannyasa is that. It's not an easy institute. It's not easy. But then it formally says, look, I am free from this now. Even to the extent that I cannot come and do the fire ceremonies of my parents who have passed away. I have absolved myself. I cannot do that. So the three granthis in the Kundalini awakening are only three forms of attachment. Come to Bhagavad Gita. But Lord Krishna says, Abhyasena tu kaunteya vairagena cha griyate. Exactly, Abhyas and Vairagya. What Patanjali is talking about in Patanjali Sutras, Lord Krishna is talking about the same sloka. Abhyasena tu kaunteya. Kaunteya is the son of Kunti. He says, Lord Krishna tells Arjuna that, O son of Kunti, it's only through Abhyas and Vairagya you will be able to control the mind fully. Otherwise, the mind will go on getting stuck up in places. Again, if you look at the ladder of fall in Bhagavad Gita, how does a human being fall in life? Symbolically. This fall has got links. The first link is continuous brooding of an object. When you repeatedly think of some object, what happens? The first step that happens is sangha. Sangha means you start getting attached to that object. That sangha creates kama. Kama means desire. See how beautiful it is. I repeatedly think of something. Now there is an attachment which starts happening. That attachment creates a desire. That desire, if it is fulfilled, not fulfilled, create agitation in me, krodha, anger. So dhyayataha, sangha, kama, krodha. That krodha leads to delusion, sammoha. That delusion leads to loss of memory. Whenever you are angry, your memory does not work. That is why you do something when you are angry and then repent. Oh, how could I have done this? Because at the time when you are very angry, memory does not work. And the moment memory is lost, buddhi vinasha, all your knowledge, all your intellect is lost completely. Because again, memory is equal to knowledge. Buddhi nasha, pranashyati, total loss. So your ladder of fall starts with continuous brooding, and second is attachment. That attachment leads to all the next steps. If you take Bhagavad Gita is over, Vairagya, we have a poet in our country by the name of Bhartrihari. He wrote 300 verses, Shatakatrei. And in these 300 verses, 100 verses were devoted to Niti Shastra. 100 verses were devoted to Shringara, aesthetics. And 100 verses were devoted towards Vairagya. Vairagya Shataka. 100 verses towards Vairagya. Our scriptures have given so much prominence to this concept and to the practices, how one gets in day-to-day life becoming free. Because unknowingly you get trapped. Unknowingly you get trapped. This is the unconscious nature of the mind, habitual nature of the mind, where raga starts happening. Either raga or dvesha. The last point, if you take Buddhism talks about dharma chakra, dhamma chakra, bhava chakra, No, Pratitya Samutpada Chakra, the wheel of dependent origination. This wheel in Buddhism has got 12 spokes. And the fourth spoke in this is called Upadana. Upadana means clinging, getting attached. That is why if some of you have gone to Vipassana practice, when we are doing Vipassana, we are given only one instruction. From the top of the head to the toes, you take your awareness, try to see what sensations are happening in each place. Only one point you have to be careful is that don't get attached to the sensations. Mark the word, don't get attached to the sensations. No like or dislike, because dislike is also attachment. The whole Vipassana, essence of Vipassana is, can I have an experience without passing a judgment? I like it, I don't like it. Because the trouble starts from there. And if you take the yoga path is the middle path. Neither like nor dislike. You are in the moment, completely in the moment. You are having every experience fully. Only when the mind comes into the picture, the possibility of attachment starts happening. So Vairagya is a powerful concept. And this is not only theory, this is in day-to-day life Vairagya. Can I have the experience? Get over it. Do not start ruminating over it. Do not start, fixing it in your mind there. At least psychologically. Ensure you don't sow the seeds of attachment. Don't sow the seeds of attachment. Practical memory is fine, no problem at all. But psychological memory is disastrous. It will not allow you to have anything new in life. Creativity comes from absence of psychological attachment, because there is no comparison. Your experience, every experience is a new experience. There is no comparison to any other experience. I will stop here. Sorry, I've exceeded 18 minutes. I thought 15 minutes would be sufficient, but 18 minutes I have exceeded. Thank you very much for all of you patiently listening. Nice to have all of you on the screen there. Maybe Shivani can have more often such programs, so we can take up some concepts which are very interesting, and go deeper into it. It's very nice, very practical. Normally, I come across people who say, oh, philosophy, no, I'm not interested. As if philosophy has got nothing to do with life. No, philosophy is life. Life without a philosophical background is a very shallow life, because you don't know why you're doing what you're doing. You know only one or two links there. But when you are thorough and founded in Indian philosophy, you will realize the worth of life, the richness of life. And these are the small concepts which are so beautiful to understand. So beautiful to understand. Okay, thank you very much.